So Congress has pledged more resources to the Secret Service, and the agency has had months to evaluate its failures. Will there be major changes ahead? Let's bring in former Secret Service agent Bill Gage. Bill, what do you think of this proposal in Congress that presidential candidates receive presidential-style Secret Service protection? Will it make a difference?
Hi, thanks for having me. And I absolutely do think it will make a difference. The level of protection given to candidates for probably decades has needed to be increased, especially the ultimate primary candidate, the ultimate selectee. At times during some of the primaries, there could be 5 or 6 different candidates for the nomination, but for the final candidate, yes, absolutely. I think this is going to be a huge change in the way the Secret Service operates. Currently right now, just based on that legislation and changes the Secret Service has made, they're providing protection for essentially 3 presidents right now. You have President Biden. People have forgotten, he's still there. He's still in the news. He's still receiving a very high level of protection. Vice President Harris, they've beefed up her detail, as well as former President Trump and the Republican nominee. So, right now the Secret Service is providing a extremely high level of protection for 3 candidates, and that's going to put a strain on the agency.
Yeah, what about, there are those who say that the Secret Service is simply spread too thin, and that Butler was an example of that.
Yeah, and that is true. I've said it here on Fox and other outlets. Listen, it's a supply and demand issue for the Secret Service. The demand is exceeding their available resources, and they're just going to have to find a way. You heard Director Rowe talking about this. We just cannot work our people to death. And so they're going to have to find a way. And unfortunately, just someone who was, outside looking in and, a former agent, what I think is going to happen, the investigative responsibilities that the Secret Service is responsible for are just going to have to take a pause, at least until this campaign is over, until the election season is over. But it's not like the election night happens and we select a new president. And it's not like it's going to stop for President Trump as far as the level of protection. We know the Iranian threat is there. We know the Iranians. There have been people arrested. We've seen that in the news. There's been open source reporting. Listen, Trump ordered the assassination of Soleimani,
right?
And Hezbollah is out there. And listen, they have deep pockets and very long arms, and they're not going to stop. This is going to keep going.
And are there elements of what happened in Butler and in Florida that might encourage more copycats to try again?
Yeah, absolutely. I think each one of these incidents has, revealed vulnerabilities in the Secret Service protective model, and the Secret Service is going to make changes to try to plug those gaps so it doesn't happen again. But absolutely. And listen, in my time in the Secret Service, there were dozens and dozens of assassination attempts, or we uncovered, people that were in the final stages of planning, and we were able to uncover that. And some of these were never released to the media. And so it happens, every day the Secret Service is investigating these threats. And part of the reason the Secret Service keeps those sort of sensitive and doesn't release those to the public is so that copycats won't be emboldened and won't be able to take advantage of any security gaps. So, yeah, absolutely. It's going to give ammunition to some of these people to say, hey, maybe I can crawl up on a roof somewhere and do just what crooks did in Pennsylvania. And so the Secret Service is definitely going to plug those gaps in their security protective model.
Yeah, that's the frightening part. You have said that the Secret Service is sort of sometimes treated as the poor stepchild in Washington when it comes to budgetary issues, for instance.
Yeah, I don't know that I use those words, but exactly. But yeah, listen, there was a time in the 2000s where the Secret Service director was flying coach. And, the FBI director flies around, he has an FBI plane. And so, listen, I love the FBI. I have a great amount of respect for what they do. They're vital to, our democracy. But when you look at the agency that is solely responsible for the functioning of our democracy, listen, our elected leaders have got to make decisions based on their best judgment and not under threat of gun. Because, listen, there are countries all over the world where the leaders are afraid of assassinations, and we don't do that in this country. And so the functioning of the Secret Service is vital for our country, and the budgets have got to be brought almost on par with each other. When you look at the budgets compared side by side, it's no question the FBI has a much larger budget. So it's time that Congress really looks at dramatic increases in the Secret Service budget.
Former President Trump certainly thanked them profusely, especially after this last assassination attempt. Bill Gage, a former Secret Service agent, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.